telephone system presents Telephone Time.
Telephone Time, with the stories of John Nesbitt.
How do you do, everyone? When we finished the reenactment we're about to see now, we had hardly a dry actor on this place. And that was owing to the fact that we had men up on ladders pitching buckets of water at their heads and spraying them with the lawn sprinkler. And the clues which we have this time are probably the most homely that have ever led us into a story. This is because the yarn is about the celebrated Mr. Hatfield, who used to go about America offering to make it rain where people wanted it to, and an amazing number of times actually seemed to deliver right on schedule. He used this kind of equipment, and while he always kept his secret, the weather experts have a theory about him of their own. This, however, is the story as he tells it. Hatfield the Rainmaker.
Hello, Kathy.
Oh, Charlie, you've got to stop this. It smells clear over to our house.
Ma, are you sure that turkey's fresh?
Yes, Pa.
It's that Charlie Hatfield, blast him, he's at it again. Stinking up the county, suffocating decent people.
Charlie's only trying to make it rain, Pa.
Rain? Nobody can make it rain. You know that, Ma.
Pa, please lower your voice on the Sabbath. Charlie explained to me what he was doing, though I didn't exactly understand. Sounded sensible enough. Charlie Hatfield's a very serious young man.
First my daughter, and now you. Well, that crackpot sewing machine salesman ain't pulling the wool over my eyes.
Pa, you're not going to...
You promised me that we'd ride out and look at our home site today.
Can't leave now. Kathy, look. Look, see those cumulus and stratocumulus clouds? If they just stick around long enough, my chemicals will upset their colloidal stability, and I can cause it to rain.
Kathy, get on home.
No, Pa.
Get!
No, Pa.
Oh, so you're defying your pa over an addle-pated loafer.
Why, sir, you've got no right to say that.
Oh, well, haven't I? Well, let me tell you, young fella, you're the laughing stock of the county. For a week now, you've been fouling up the air.
It's only been 4 days, sir.
Just how much longer do you think decent folks are going to put up with this stink?
But, Pa, Charlie's going to make it rain.
Nobody can make it rain.
Sir, I know it sounds fantastic, but every book I've studied convinces me I'm on the right track.
Nobody can make it rain.
But, Mr. Purdy, it's a known fact that after every big artillery battle in the Civil War, it rained. Scientists used to think it was the sound of the cannon that caused the rain. But some of us are pretty sure it was something else.
And just what else is there, Charlie?
It's fumes.
Oh, so that's what you're brewing up here, huh? Cannon fumes.
Sir, I'm simply trying to release the natural moisture suspended in the clouds.
Nobody can make it...
Charlie, you didn't...
Yeah, I think I did.
So you made this rain, huh, Charlie? Well, just listen to this weather report. High clouds today and tomorrow. Possible rain.
Oh, not a chance. Not in July, not in San Diego County. We haven't had a July rain like this since 1865.
Charlie, are you sure you did it?
Yeah.
Charlie Hatfield later described that soft rumble of thunder attending his first success as a kind of a cordial greeting from the clouds, and maybe a gentle warning. "You've fiddled with us, Charlie," they seemed to say. "Now be careful." The novice rainmaker's first professional contract was fulfilled the following year when Los Angeles paid him $50 whole for wetting the city with 2 inches of rain. It set the standard for more than 500 contracts that were to follow. No rain, no pay. But Charlie claims that the clouds double-crossed him just 18 times. But some old-timers still claim that while Charlie was making it poor for everyone else, he was borrowing rain from his own home county.
It's no wonder the farmers of the county are up in arms. This is the worst drought in history. And what does the Chamber of Commerce do? Rub salt in their wounds. Listen. San Diego County, wonderland of scenery, soil, and climate. Huge reservoirs store abundance of water for future needs. The kids can't even use them for wading ponds.
We all realize there's a serious drought, Mr. Martin, but there's no sense advertising it. It would hurt our World's Fair. The fair is big business.
Mr. Mayor, isn't there anything that can be done?
Well, we have the finest reservoirs that money can build. The rest is up to nature.
It must be pretty bad. All your pa talks about is the drought. He says that half the farmers in the county are facing foreclosure. Well, we'll soon fix that.
Charlie, promise me that you won't try to influence our folks and friends too quickly.
Remember how suspicious they were when we left? But now all that'll be changed. People accept Hatfield, the weather modification specialist, wherever he goes.
Ma would say pride goeth before a fall.
So, that's why I called you over here. I'd like to help you. I honestly believe I can break this drought. But I'm going to need your help with the city and county officials.
Charlie, this ain't no time for jokes. Every one of us, including your father-in-law, is about to lose his farm.
Charlie, we was raised together. You're no rainmaker. You're a sewing machine salesman. That is, you used to be.
Tell us honestly, Charlie, how did you really make a living all these years?
By breaking droughts all over the country. Oregon, Texas, Florida, Alaska. Dozens of places.
Ma, didn't you show them Charlie's newspaper clippings? I sent you every one.
Your pa didn't want me to.
But why?
Because any fool knows nobody can make it rain. Besides, I didn't want my friends to know my daughter was married to a crackpot.
I will not have you malign Kathy's husband in front of guests.
It's all right, Mrs. Purdy. I'm used to skeptics and stubborn fools.
Well, I've heard enough.
Me too. You can practice your hocus pocus somewhere else, Charlie Hatfield.
We got no money for such fool business.
Mr. Bramley, you know the mayor of San Diego. Can you get me an appointment? I'd like to offer my services.
Well, no, I don't know, Charlie. They're mighty busy down at City Hall. What with the World's Fair going into its second
Please,
year.
sir, you got to. I got to see him.
Well, all right, Charlie, if you insist.
Mr. Mayor, nobody can make it rain. It rains when it's ready to rain. And anybody who says differently is a quack and a charlatan.
Do you think I like the idea of hiring Hatfield?
You invited him?
Because Bramley says that Hatfield's been making rain all over the country.
Oh, rubbish. Gentlemen, there's a rope around our collective necks. The Marina Reservoir is almost empty. We need water desperately.
Oh, wait till the press gets hold of this. One day we're inviting world tourists to our matchless semi-tropical climate. And the next day we're confessing that our mammoth reservoirs are dry.
Joe's right, Mr. Mayor. If we hire this so-called rainmaker, we'll be the laughing stock of the country, the world.
And unless we fill this reservoir soon, gentlemen, we'll be eating this propaganda without any water to wash it down. Send Mr. Hatfield, Mr. Bramley, in, please. I believe you gentlemen know Mr. Bramley.
Gentlemen, Charlie, this is Mayor Nolan.
Mr. Hatfield.
Councilman Martin, Herman, Perry, and Fisk.
How do you charge, Mr. Hatfield? By the drop or the bucketful?
Sit down, Mr. Hatfield.
Mr. Hatfield,
Can you really make it rain?
Well, sir, I don't make rain. I attempt to create atmospheric conditions favorable to rain.
Same thing if you ask me.
Well, no, sir, it's not the same thing at all. My method consists of evaporating certain chemicals that...
We're not interested in how you do it, Mr. Hatfield. Just can you do it?
Yes, sir, I can.
If we retain you, what guarantee have we that you'll deliver?
No rain, no pay.
Do you know the Merino Reservoir, Mr. Hatfield?
Yes, sir. It has a capacity of 18 billion gallons of water. It's never been more than 1/3 filled, and right now it's nearly empty.
How much would you charge the city to fill it?
$1.
$1? Why, Mr. Bramley told me that they paid you $10,000 in Alaska.
Well, that's true, but this job is different. San Diego County is my home. With the fair going on, my work will get worldwide notice. I can interest scientists everywhere in artificial rain production.
I don't think you quite understand, Mr. Hatfield. There's a World's Fair going on, you know. So we must avoid any unfavorable publicity. So if we retain you, there must be absolute secrecy.
But, Mr. Mayor, this is not fair. If Charlie is able to make it rain, he's entitled to the credit. It's important to him.
Those are our terms, Mr. Hatfield. How much?
Just a minute, Charlie. Mr. Mayor, you must reconsider.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bramley.
Charlie. All right. You want rain and you want secrecy. So I think Charlie's entitled to his regular fee, $10,000.
On condition the reservoir is filled within 3 months.
1 year.
6 months.
1 year.
1 year, Mr. Bramley. We'll put it to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary?
Nay.
Here is a telephone story about how you helped design modern telephone service. Your use of telephone service has brought about many changes through the years. For instance, in the good old days, when Mother was doing the family chores, Dad was puttering around the yard, Junior was dreams away in some far country. The romantic lady of the house was swooning over a letter from her best beau. And Rover was enjoying a dog's life. In those days, the sound of the telephone set off a chain reaction.
Hello? Oh, Jimmy?
Today, however, when the telephone rings, it's a far different story. Here's what happens to Mom today. To Dad when he's doing chores. To Junior in his faraway world. Or to Sis in her dream of romance. The modern idea is to have telephones handy in your home. You can have telephones in your home wherever you need them. And they come in many beautiful colors, too. Your telephone company business office will be glad to tell you all about them.
Having reached a verbal agreement with the San Diego City Council to fill the Merino Reservoir for a fee of $10,000, Charlie Hatfield went to work. By New Year's Day, 1916, Charlie had erected his evaporator tower on a remote slope of the Marina watershed. He added the last ingredient to his secret chemical mixture and climbed down to wait.
If I hadn't helped you out on so many contracts, I'd swear this was your first job.
It's not the first, but the most important.
When the fair's over, the city council will give you credit. Mr. Bramley will see to that. And Chet and Max and Pa and the others will eat some crow.
You know, it's funny. We never get called in till people are desperate. So desperate, they're inhuman sometimes.
But don't forget how happy they always are when the rains come.
Yeah, but when you want something most, that's when you're most apt to fail.
Just came from the Purdy's. Seems Charlie Hatfield and Kathy packed up and left. Don't know where to. If you ask me, the mayor run them out of the county.
I heard it from Chet Cooper. The mayor's had Charlie deported clear out of the country. Yeah, it's a gospel truth.
Yeah? Well, it serves a faker right trying to bamboozle us.
While his friends and neighbors gossiped him into exile, Charlie continued to woo his skies. Starting with a cloudless day on New Year's Day, he managed to scare up a collection of promising specimens by January 4th.
Charlie, you haven't slept in 2 days. Let me watch while you get some rest.
Later, Kathy. This is one contract I want to finish fast. Look at that one coming up.
Gentlemen, I think we're going to have a little moisture.
5 days. Hatfield works fast.
Hasn't rained yet.
What did I tell you, Mother? Every time my lumbago acts up.
Did Hatfield melt skies? There was rain yesterday, but whether it was due to what is described in the law books as an act of God, or to the efforts of Charles Hatfield, the rain pusher, who is striving to win $10,000 from the city by filling the Marina Reservoir, is a subject upon which the mayor and the city councilman refuse to comment. I thought we agreed, Mr. Mayor, that Hatfield's contract wouldn't be made public.
I didn't talk, Sam. And I'm sure that Hatfield and Bramley didn't.
That it was someone in this room.
Don't look at me, gentlemen. I haven't said a word. You think I want to advertise that I'm associated with a group who would actually hire a rainmaker?
So we went up to see for ourselves, way back up on the marina watershed.
That same stink led us right up to the tower. And sure enough, there was old Charlie up top.
Mr. Purdy, you're Charlie's father-in-law. Now, you tell us honest. Charlie can't really make it rain. Now, can he?
Don't be ridiculous. Nobody can make it rain.
It's raining, ain't it?
For the next 12 days, the skies poured their bounty on thirsty San Diego County, and a matter of 3 billion gallons of water was added to the municipal reservoirs. Everyone was grateful, especially the city council.
No, I'm not prepared to confirm or deny a contract between Hatfield and the city. But you can print this, that your city officials have been and always will be alert to every opportunity that will benefit our water reserve. You're entirely welcome. Good day.
I say more power to Hatfield. Likewise, more rain.
I tell you, it's the truth. A rancher just came through from Bernardo. Said the San Diego River's overflowing. I gotta go now, Chet. The roof's leaking.
The whole cellar's flooded.
Elizabeth, get the kids upstairs. I'll start moving the furniture up.
Nonsense. You may quote me as saying the city is in absolutely no danger. Hatfield, no comment.
Hatfield.
Joe, we need every drop of this water. The Marino Reservoir is only half full.
Mr. Mayor! Mr. Mayor! Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mayor, I've just come down from Hatfield's camp. He says, tell the city council I expect real rain tomorrow. Up to now, it's just sprinkled.
Hatfield.
Charlie Hatfield was true to his promise. The clouds answered his appeal with renewed gusto, and for the next 9 days, San Diego County was deluged with an excellent rain. In fact, the rain spread as far north as San Juan Capistrano, and it spread southward even into Mexico. 109 bridges were washed out, and the Marina Reservoir filled. It filled satisfactorily. It then overflowed and caused the lower Otay Dam to collapse. Telephone and telegraph wires were down. The city of San Diego was completely isolated from the outside world and from the man they'd hired to bring the rain. They had received from him the worst deluge in recorded history, and the city fathers were marooned in the chamber, marooned with their momentous decision.
I should have killed Hatfield while I had a chance.
Mr. Mayor, if we ever get out of here, I'm going to have you impeached.
Oh, shut up, Joe. I've already resigned.
Our hen house is washed away and the chickens are roosting in the attic.
The wife and kids are roosting in mine.
Well, Hatfield's got to be stopped.
We're going to run him out of town before he floods the whole state.
All right, then, let's go get him.
Wait a minute. Let's see how some of the other ranchers feel about this.
Charlie Hatfield! Charlie! Charlie, a bunch of ranchers say you've ruined them. They're coming to get you. You gotta clear out of here.
We'll take Kathy with you. I'm staying here till that reservoir's filled.
But Charlie, haven't you heard? Don't you know?
No, what, Mr. Bramley?
Great Scott. You've been making more rain thinking... Charlie, it's filled. The Marina Reservoir's filled, overflowed. The lower Otay Dam's destroyed. A wall of water, 40 feet high, washed out everything in the Otay Valley. You flooded the whole county.
Whole county, huh?
They say the rain stopped the very night that Hatfield came down from the Marina watershed. Perhaps that's apocryphal. And the next morning, San Diego County greeted the sun with grateful relief and began the job of drying out. Charlie then carefully sent in his bill for $10,000 to the city council. But he kept out of sight until the answer came.
They refused to pay, Charlie. City Attorney Cosgrove says you've got to prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that you made the rain. He's claiming the storm was an act of God. Well, I'm suing on your behalf, Charlie, whether you like it or not. They can't do this to you.
In due course, Mr. Bramley sued. In due course, the summons were duly served. In due course, Charlie's testimony was duly recorded. In due course, the city filed its countersuit duly, and the plaintiff Hatfield, having become the defendant Hatfield, now faced the darkest skies of his business career.
So it looks like I got you into a lot of trouble, Charlie. If you press your claim against the city, you'll probably succeed. But you'll be legally liable for any damage suit arising out of the flood. $6 million worth.
But I can't win, Mr. Bramley.
I'm afraid not.
But that's not fair. Charlie agreed to fill the Marina Reservoir, and he did.
Hallelujah. Pa.
Well, it's the truth. And Charlie never claimed that he could stop the rain, now did you, son?
No, sir, I didn't.
Look, everybody, look at all this mail. And it's all for Charlie. Letters, telegrams, cables.
Cables?
Yes, here's one from Australia, Florida, New York.
Honduras, Arkansas, South Africa.
Charlie, look. They want you to bring them rain. They want you.
Here's a cable from Italy, Charlie. Can you come at once? All expenses paid, plus your usual fee. They're desperate for rain.
But how do they hear about me?
The day the news leaked out, every reporter covering the fair wired home stories about you. Your contract with the city was the loudest open secret of the century.
Look, here's one from a meteorology society in Germany. They want you to lecture on your scientific methods.
Holy Toledo. Well, son, there's worldwide recognition in that mail. Just what you wanted to put rainmaking on a scientific basis.
Which one shall we accept first, darling?
I don't know, Kathy, I don't know, but you better start packing.
I cannot solve Mr. Hatfield's secret for you because he intends to hang on to it. However, there are one or two theories which are of interest, and after this announcement, I'd like to bring them to you as a footnote in case you'd like to join the argument.
Share them all with a telephone call. All the little bits of family news that mean so much to loved ones away from home.
Oh, we're all just fine, Mother. Let's see, I've got so much to tell you. What do you think? Little Carol's got her first tooth. Jimmy skinned his knee playing ball. Didn't even whimper when I fixed it. And Betty's in love with her new party dress I made.
The little things that mean so much. Share them all with a telephone call. Long-distance rates are low, and even lower all day Sunday and every night after 6 o'clock. Someone wants to hear your voice. Tonight's the time to call.
Guess number one about Hatfield's rainmaking ability is, of course, that he was just plain lucky. But if we accept the published figures that out of 500 tries, he failed just 18 times, that's too much luck for anybody. So the theory for years has been that the longer a drought lasts, the higher are the mathematical odds for its ending. And if you study the local rain records and you arrive at the right time, the odds are very much in your favor that it will begin to rain again. This theory held the stage for these years until the experiments with seeding clouds with dry ice and chemicals, and then the weather experts began to scratch their heads and remember Charlie Hatfield. As for Mr. Hatfield himself, he is 81 now, and he lives just a few miles from here under a sky that's generally dry as a bone. But he just shrugs his shoulders and winks his eye and says, "I'm not talking," and that puts a period to it. We have just time for a brief glimpse of our clues for the story to come. The lady who used to ride this contraption did so at a time when men considered it next to ungodly for a woman to mount a tricycle. But she further outraged American men when she became the only woman to actively run for the presidency of the United States. She lost, but she had a wonderful time. And her true story we're calling She Also Ran. Until next week, this is John Nesbitt wishing a goodbye to you all.
Join us at telephone time next week. Until then, we remain sincerely yours, the Bell Telephone System.